I think fans, media want answers, period. All right, Gettleman addressed a number of different things. Odell, Eli, the overall plan. Let's start with Odell, CC. Are you buying the Giants calling the Odell trade a business decision?
Oh, yeah, they can always say that because what's good for business? And can they trust the player? And they felt basically for the New York Football Giants and their brand to move forward, it was best for them from a football standpoint because that's the business they're in. So I put everything into that. When you say a football decision, yeah, football means their character too. Are they going to be at practice? Are they reliable? Also, are they a good football player? Are they good in the locker room? So those are all good football decisions. There is no off the field in professional football. Once you start playing professional, you're on the clock 24/7. So I can understand exactly what he's saying. But he's not telling the truth. Because if he was telling the truth, when Odell, since he's been there basically, he's tried to trade Odell. He approached it last offseason with his friend John Dorsey with the Browns. Like they were talking about it. Now, Dorsey was a little consumed with trying to get Baker Mayfield or the right quarterback, but they had conversations. You can read it. They talk about them talking about this deal in last year's combine, not this year's combine. So I can't believe everything that he's saying, but he is right. It's not his job to tell us every move that he's doing. But for a long, long time, he's tried to trade Odell Beckham, and Odell felt like he was going to get traded. He felt like he couldn't make New York a home. So did he make some mistakes along the way? Yes. If I want to revisit history, yes, he did. But Dave Gettleman, I don't believe he's telling the truth here 100%.
When we get to the Eli part, I don't think he's telling the truth on Eli either, but that might be above his pay grade. The Eli stuff might be over his head.
No, and it is above his head.
Okay.
I mean, it's fairly obvious. The last coach that was there benched Eli. How long did he last with the Giants?
He got fired a few weeks later.
Right. The general manager can't do that because the general manager was fired also.
And so the point I'm making is if you, and we'll get to the Eli stuff, if you can't tell the truth on Eli, then it would behoove you greatly to tell the truth on Odell Beckham. And the idea that Odell getting rid of, you got an offer you can't refuse, you got a Godfather offer, so you got the 17th pick. The Browns had 2 third-round picks. They gave you the worst of the 2 and a first-round safety they had given up on, saying we looked at this like 2 first-round picks because once upon a time Jabril Peppers was a first-round pick. Once upon a time Trent Richardson was the 3rd overall pick of a draft. He's in the AAFL now. Like that's silliness. This wasn't a, oh my God, I can't believe the offer we just got. This wasn't someone coming, the RG3 in the trade, in the draft offer where it's 3 firsts, 2 seconds, a third. It's like, we have no choice. That's just nonsense. And the idea that the New York Giants will be better on the field without Odell Beckham, all evidence points to the opposite. In games he's played, they've won 50% more than games he hasn't. Eli's been a better quarterback with him on the field. They've scored more points with him on the field. We know that they're better as a football team with Odell Beckham, and we know they didn't get what the Steelers got for Antonio Brown, 30 cents on the dollar, but they certainly didn't get 100 cents on the dollar for Odell Beckham Jr. We know that.
And you have to assume that if the Eli situation was above Gettleman's head, maybe the Odell one was, well, maybe that was a Mara decision as well. But let's get to the Eli. What did you make of what Gettleman said about Eli and how the fact that they don't think he's worth it as a 38-year-old quarterback is a crock?
Well, the thing about it, when he talks about the money part, and you say you look around the NFL, Eli Manning, you're paying that number. Nick has that exact number, what, $23 million?
He's the 7th highest cap hit amongst all quarterbacks, $23.2 million.
So you can look at it cap or you can look at it at real dollars. They don't look at it as if they're spending too much on the quarterback because of their overall respect for him. That would have to be what it is because he hadn't been a Pro Bowl level quarterback for at least 5 years, probably longer than that. So I can understand when an organization, because this is not about how good is he right now. Kobe Bryant at the end of his career, man, he demanded every single dollar from the Lakers. How much was he making at the end, Nick?
What, over $35 million.
Yeah, and he wasn't nearly the player, but he wasn't going to take a discount either. It was for time served. Now, him and Kobe are not in the same stratosphere as far as athletes, but relationship to an organization, that's what's important here.
It's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
This is the Mara family, this is what they've decided to do with Eli. They don't want Eli playing for another team. They want him retired New York Giant, and they feel like Eli and all those others that were responsible for those 2 championships, he's got much respect for them. The family does. So that's all this is right now.
And I understand that part of it, but even there, when he says, look at what other quarterbacks are making. Well, I just told you. It's the 7th highest cap hit amongst quarterbacks. Now, it's $17 million in salary, but so we can do cash versus cap, all that. I understand that because part of that's the signing bonus that's been prorated. When he says, look at how Eli played over the end of the year. Well, what sample are we talking about? The final 3 games where he had 3 touchdown passes and 6 turnovers? That can't be what you're talking about. Are you talking about the final 8 games of the season where he was better than the first 8 games but still bad? Like, we know what Eli is. The idea that Eli is old and at this point a well below average quarterback is not a crock. It is the facts we have been leading to over the last 5 years. Eli Manning, the year before Odell got there, had the lowest passer rating in football and the most interceptions in football. He then had a 3-year period that you could argue was the best 3 years of his career, in large part because Odell Beckham Jr. was on the field with him, and Odell was healthy in those 3 years. Since Odell's been out of the lineup, all of 2 years ago and part of last season, Eli has been the quarterback he was trending towards 5 years ago, which is a well below average quarterback who has had 2 unbelievable playoff runs. And Gettleman, I do feel for him in this regard. That I do think's over his head. I don't think the Beckham thing is. Because if the Beckham, if you can't pick the trades, you can't pick the quarterback, then what are you doing? Like then the owner is the GM. So I don't think the Beckham thing was above his pay grade, but the Manning thing clearly is, but he's not even telling a consistent story on that. And I think these quotes, just like we didn't sign Odell to trade him, was thrown against him. Well, I think these quotes are going to be run back when it says, you guys say Eli's old and overpaid. That's a crock. Okay. Well, we'll have 16 games to find out.
All right, so all that being said, do you trust Gettleman's plan? Do you trust the Giants' plan moving forward, see?
Man, I have a lot of faith in the Giants because I've seen them operate, and they've operated with a great deal of patience. But I'm just going to I'm a little timid as far as what their future is because they don't have a future with Eli. Now, they might love their past, but, man, the NFL, the past is the past. It's about what are you going to do in the next 3 years. They don't have a quarterback. I believe in Barkley as a running back. They got to beef up their offense line. I believe he's going to be a superstar. But the way this team, I need to see more positive things. Now, do I think he can run a team and pick talent out and evaluate that? Yes, absolutely. No disrespect to that. But as far as the Giants' ownership and him coming together on a plan going forward, when you give up on Odell Beckham, because every draft pick, every other player, you're taking the chance, hoping that he becomes a player one day. So I wouldn't say I have as much faith in the Giants I've had over the years because they have proven with their patience they're worthy of that trust. But right now, they are at a fork in the road. And Dave Gettleman is driving the car. Is he going to make the right turn? That's what I can say. The Mara family, I still have faith in them and what they do and what they believe in as people.
And when we say, do we trust the Giants' plan, I would like to know what the plan is. Because if someone
That's not my job, though.
Right. If someone comes to you in your personal training capacity, Jenna, and says, I want to cut weight and I also want to add a lot of bulk. It's like, wait, huh? You pick one of the two. Right. We want to rebuild and we want to contend. Okay, well, if you want to do everything, you want to do nothing. And so that there are teams in the league that we know specifically. We think we're taking a step back this year to take a step forward. We think we're in win right now mode. We're trying to take the next step to make the playoffs. The Giants are trying to have it both ways.
Right.
We're rebuilding and we want to contend and we want to hold on to the past and we want to look to the future. That is not a plan.
Except that Gettleman would not use the word rebuild. He said we're not rebuilding, we're actually building.
No one wants to hear that word.
Correct. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.